From free food to getting the perfect table to secret fireworks viewing locations, we've got 16 Disney dining tips the guidebooks just won't tell you. Hey everybody, it's AJ for Disney Food Blog. We are diving into the realm of secret tips and hidden gems today at DFB. Reading the guidebooks is all well and good, but you watch DFB for the real deal. We are using our 30 years of Disney Parks experience to make sure you save the most money and have the best trip you possibly can when you're in the most magical place on earth. So today we're highlighting 16 mega tips that those guidebooks just won't tell you. First up, lots of restaurants have secret menu items. So you want to be aware of where those secret menu items are when they pop up, when they finish. And you can get that information, of course, over on DisneyFoodBlog.com or join our newsletter. We have that information going out on our newsletter every single time we send a newsletter. So here are a couple that you can note for your next trip. The secret menu at All-Star Movies. This is All-Star Movies Resort, and you're going to have to ask for this one, of course, because it is a secret menu, so you have to know about it when you get there. So head over to a cast member and ask them about it when you get there at that All-Star Movies food court. And it'll come out in a top secret briefcase. You actually use a viewfinder to see the menu items, and it's really, really fun. So over here, you can currently get, I believe, the cinnamon roll burger, which is a burger on 2 cinnamon rolls. So it's got the sweet, salty thing going on. They've got a mac and cheese hot dog. They've got some poutine. So there's lots of fun things to choose from over there at the secret menu at All-Star Movies. There's also a secret menu charcuterie at Oga's Cantina over there in Galaxy's Edge in Disney's Hollywood Studios. Now, we don't necessarily recommend this one. There's string cheese on there. The freeze-dried chorizo was pretty weird. We didn't love this particular charcuterie, especially for the cost, but it's definitely interesting, and it's a secret menu item, so we wanted to let you know about it. You can go in and ask for it. There isn't a lot of other things to eat at Oga's Cantina. Most of it is drinks, so if you do need something to nosh on, that is there. Deluxe Burger in Disney Springs has a secret menu, and they've got some really great options, including loaded fries and the bacon and blue burger, and these change up every once in a while, so you're going to want to check mobile order to find the Deluxe menu secret menu. It's usually going to be only in the mobile order on My Disney Experience app. They're not going to have it posted, of course. So also be sure to check mobile order, as sometimes secret menu items pop up there first, like over at Cosmic Rays and several other counter service locations. Sometimes you'll find the secret menu items in the mobile order menu before you'll ever hear about them elsewhere. All right, next dining tip you need to know about that the guidebooks aren't going to tell you is if restaurants share a kitchen, you might be able to get favorite foods from the shared location. This is a good tip if you know you like something at a particular restaurant. They don't have it at the restaurant next door, but they probably share a kitchen, so you can probably get it. Good example of this, if you're at Skipper Canteen and your kid really wants something from Liberty Tree Tavern, your cast member might be able to help you out. This happened to me over at Liberty Tree Tavern. I wanted snap peas, and I knew they were on the menu at Skipper Canteen, and the server actually brought me a bowl of snap peas, which happened to be in the kitchen because it is a shared kitchen between those two restaurants, so that was pretty great. So now this doesn't always happen. Sometimes they obviously didn't buy enough of a particular item to be serving it at the other restaurant, etc. And there's lots of restrictions to this one. But if you do know that there is something at a shared kitchen from another restaurant that you want to try or that you would like to have, you can always ask about it. Another good little example of this too is over at Hoop to Do Review. We were able to get French fries from the takeout next door. Our server was able to bring those for our son because he didn't really want to eat anything else at Hoop to Do. So again, this is very much dependent on your cast member and on what's available. So if they say no, they say no. So don't argue with them. But it's a fun tip to remember just in case. All right, third tip we want to let you know, always mention when you're having a celebration, a birthday, an anniversary, or any other event when you check into the restaurant. Now, you can also put this on the notes when you first book the reservation, but it's always good to mention it at the podium when you check in because many Disney restaurants have special commemorations like a free dessert or cupcake, a card signed by all the Disney characters there if it happens to be a character meal. Sometimes they they put confetti on the table. There are some restaurants, signature restaurants, that will actually print your name on the menu. And sometimes cast members come out and sing for your birthday or something like that as well. So there's lots of things that the cast members in the restaurant can do to celebrate and commemorate your special event. So be sure to let them know. Now, sometimes nothing happens. This is not guaranteed, but it's definitely a good tip to remember, especially if you have a birthday of a child or something like that. They'll definitely try to do something for that. All right, speaking of celebrations, number 4, you can get cakes delivered to your restaurant table. So there is a Disney World cake hotline that you can call to determine whether a specialty cake can be delivered for your special meal. Now remember, the sky is the limit when it comes to decorations and themes. We've seen amazing Haunted Mansion cakes. We've seen Parent Trap cakes, believe it or not, if you happen to be a really big Parent Trap fan. So it just really matters what you can pay for, what the theme can be. Note that there are restrictions as far as restaurants, delivery locations, flavors, etc. So if you'd like a cake delivered, contact the cake hotline to get the details before you make your dining reservation. And you can also check out the Disney Food Blog Cake FAQ, which we have on DFB, which will be a great start for your research as well. But this is super fun. People never expect this to happen, and so if you do this to surprise a friend or surprise a family member, they'll be so shocked and it'll be so much fun. So definitely look in to getting a cake delivered for your special celebration meal. Next tip, how to get the exact table you want. So, believe it or not, when you check in at a Disney World restaurant, you can request tables, specific tables even, and they will do their best to seat you there if they can. So here's how you do it. When you get to the podium to check in, request that table or request a type of table. So if you're like me and you definitely have to sit in the big speedboat when you go to the boathouse, you can say, I'd like to sit in the big speedboat. And they will probably say, okay, it'll take you an hour before you can sit there. And if you're crazy like me, you'll say, okay. But if you're not crazy, you can say, well, if we can't sit there within the next 15 or 20 minutes, then we'll sit someplace else. Whatever, you get it. You request the table that you want. Now, if you just want something general, like a fireworks view table, or over at 50's Primetime Cafe, you want a TV table, which is one of those tables with the TV right there, so you're not kind of staring up at a TV in a corner or looking at people eating and watching their TV. There's specific categories of tables you can choose. It's sci-fi. You can request to sit at the picnic tables or in the cars. So lots of different specifics as to which table category you would like, or even specific tables. So you definitely want to ask for that when you check in. They can't guarantee anything, of course, and I've heard from cast members before that they won't let you wait longer than 1 hour to get your request, but you always want to make that request so that you can have the best table possible. If there's a particular dining room you would prefer, say at Liberty Tree Tavern, if you'd rather sit in the Ben Franklin room versus the Thomas Jefferson room, you can ask for that too. So, and yes, I know way too much about Disney restaurants. Always still shocks me sometimes. But remember, when you want to get fireworks view tables, you'll want to book a reservation about 30 to 45 minutes ahead of the fireworks start time and arrive early to put in that request for that fireworks view table, because usually you guys, once you get about 30 minutes out, everyone who's sitting at those fireworks view tables are going to stay there. They're not going to get up and leave. So you definitely want to get yourself into those fireworks view tables at least 45 minutes before the fireworks begin. Okay, next tip. If you sign up for restaurant loyalty programs, you get perks like free food, discounts, and more. So one that we can recommend is the Landry's loyalty program. This is called the Landry's Select Club, which affects Rainforest Cafe T-Rex, both of those are in Disney Springs, and Yak and Yeti in Animal Kingdom, as well as hundreds of restaurants nationwide. Landry's has a lot of restaurants and brands that they own. So there's likely a few close to you where you could benefit from being a part of that club even when you're at home. Now, recently the Select Club ran a promo that offered free desserts at the 3 Disney World restaurants they run, and there are several opportunities throughout the year to benefit otherwise as well. One of my favorite perks with Landry's, though, is the priority seating. So if you're a Landry's Select Club member and you arrive at one of those 3 restaurants, your name is going to go on their priority seating list. Now, I'm not sure how this is affected by the regular advanced dining reservation system at Disney, but I have been at Landry's restaurant several times and gotten seated very quickly quickly, including during a freak rainstorm at Yak and Yeti where tons of people came in and were trying to get tables, and I got one very quickly because I was on the priority seating list. So it's definitely worth checking that out. Now you're also going to find loyalty clubs for several other chain restaurants in Disney Springs. You're going to find a loyalty club, or an email club at least, for Cantina Group, which they run all the restaurants in the Italy Pavilion. They run several restaurants in Disney Springs. They own the Space 220 restaurant that's going to open in Epcot. They have a couple restaurants over in Disneyland as well. So that's a good one to join if you're a Disney fan and dining in Disney quite a bit. Now don't forget, we have got all the details about these select and loyalty programs in our DFB guide, which you can find over at dfbstore.com. Now don't forget to use the code YouTube for a discount if you do purchase that guide. And if you do purchase that guide, thank you so much for your support. All right, next tip you've got to know, check out refillable options. So many Disney souvenir popcorn buckets are actually refillable for the length of your stay, or if you're a local, they're basically refillable forever. Usually popcorn buckets are going to cost you $12 to $15 for the first souvenir bucket. Some of the big fancy buckets are even more money. But for the rest of your trip, you can refill your bucket for just $2 as many times as you'd like. So if you have a family who loves popcorn, this is a great deal and a great tip. And don't forget, you can get the refill deal on the gourmet flavored popcorn over in Epcot as well. And this stuff is awesome. It's the maple popcorn at Epcot's Canada and the buffalo sour cream and chive and cheddar popcorn at the Epcot Experience. Remember, it moved from the cart by the Journey into Imagination over to the Epcot Experience. So if you can't find that awesome popcorn over there by Journey into Imagination, you can find it over at Epcot Experience. So another good deal is the refillable plastic Coke bottle at the Coca-Cola store in Disney Springs. You pay about $12 for your first fill up, and then each fill after that is just $1. Most families visiting Disney World for a week probably won't make it back to Disney Springs to fill up their Coke bottles enough to make this worth the trek. But if you're local or you go to Disney World multiple times per year and spend a lot of time at Disney Springs, this could be a really fun and great option for you. And don't forget, you can get it filled up with those weird flavors too, like Bebo and stuff. And of course, there are refillable mugs in all of the resorts, which you can learn about in our refillable mug FAQ on Disney Food Blog. All right, tip number 8, go to Sanaa for lunch, not dinner, since it will likely be dark at dinner time and you won't see many animals. These are the kinds of little things that people don't realize until they go. And so we want to make sure you guys are aware of this. We always recommend Sanaa over there at Animal Kingdom Lodge in the Kidani Village section, but you definitely do want to choose to go for lunch, not for dinner, because most of the year, dinner is going to be too dark outside to really see those animals. So that's an important tip that the guidebooks probably aren't going to share with you, but we definitely want you to know, because you don't want to make that reservation to head all the way out there for a dinner and then not really benefit from the animal viewing experience when you're there. Okay, number 9, if you order your food without sides, it's going to cost you less money. This is a great tip. I don't think I've seen it in any guidebook ever, but it can save you a ton of money, especially if you have people that don't necessarily eat their sides on their counter service items. If you're, for instance, eating keto right now, you can get your burger with no bun and no French fries. It's going to cost you a lot less. So this works at counter service restaurants primarily. Usually at a table service restaurant, if you delete the side from your meal, it's not going to cost you any less, but it does happen at counter service restaurants. So if you want the lobster roll from Columbia Harbor House, but you don't care about the house-made chips, you can just tell your cast member you don't care to have a side, and that's going to cut the cost a little bit. Now remember, I'm not sure if this always works on mobile order, so definitely ask at the counter to clarify. A lot of times on mobile order, you can change your side dish, but you can't necessarily get rid of the side dish in all the restaurants. So definitely ask at the counter and ask them to change that for you, but that might be a hassle. So if you're going to use this tip, you may need to stand in line and order just at the counter instead of using mobile order. But something I wanted to mention, because I'm not 100% sure if that works at every mobile order restaurant. Okay, number 10, for those on the Disney dining plan, you can often swap your dessert for a soup or salad at the discretion of the cast member. So, you get dessert as part of your Disney dining plan for table service locations. If you do decide that you would rather not have dessert and you'd rather have an appetizer or a salad or a soup or something like that, definitely ask your cast member. Doesn't always work, Definitely not guaranteed, but several times we have anecdotally had this happen and had great cast members who were able to do this with no problem. So be sure to kind of ask for an appetizer or a salad that is around the same cost as a dessert at those table service locations. And at quick service locations, you can also often swap out a beverage for a dessert. So definitely ask those questions. If something isn't exactly how you like it on the menu, you can always ask about switching things up. Now, this is our only Disney dining plan tip on this list, but if you want more, we've got a few videos to help you plan if the Disney dining plan is your choice for your group. We've got how to get the best value out of the plan, lots of other tips and FAQs elsewhere in the DFB Guide video compendium, so you can definitely check out more Disney dining plan videos. The next dining tip we want to share is to make that late breakfast reservation at a buffet restaurant so you have access to 2 meals at once. So breakfast usually finishes service around 10:55 a.m. and lunch service begins shortly after at about 11 a.m. So when you make a 10:30 a.m. reservation, you get to enjoy the breakfast items and the lunch items. So you basically have a little built-in brunch. This is especially for those buffet and character meals. So you can get access to your Mickey waffles and other breakfast foods, and then you can try some of the restaurant's famous specialty items for lunch and dinner. This is a great one to try at Tusker House. We really enjoy doing this over at Tusker House. Now, this is also a great option if you have a tight food budget on your next Disney World trip. Instead of having to purchase breakfast and lunch, you can just eat a brunch and fill up and not have to eat again until dinner and maybe just have a little snack. So if you can make brunch your first and biggest meal of the day, you could probably get by on just snacks for the rest of the day, honestly, and save yourself a ton of money because breakfast is usually the lowest priced table service meal at a restaurant. So it's kind of 2 tips, eh? Getting access to both breakfast and lunch options in one meal and making sure you have the cheapest meal as your big meal during the day. All right, number 12, get drinks to go from table service restaurants. Bottled drinks at the parks are really expensive, so we definitely recommend taking advantage of the drinks you receive at those table service restaurants because at Walt Disney World, they do have free refills on non-alcoholic beverages. So this has worked for us nearly every time we've asked, and sometimes we've even had cast members offer the drinks to us, but it is at the discretion of your server. So you can take a drink with you, and then when you get thirsty again, just head over to a quick service location to get a free cup of water. The next tip is also drink related. A few quick service restaurants in Disney World still have those drink refill stations. So if you have people in your party who are big drinkers, they drink a lot like I do. I usually drink 3 or 4 cups of liquid when I have a counter service meal. So it always benefits me to go to these restaurants that have the refill stations where you can go up and refill your cup. So some examples of where you'll find these is Electric Umbrella, which is going to close soon over there at Epcot, Restaurantosaurus in Animal Kingdom, and Backlot Express in Hollywood Studios. Also, many of the counter service locations in the resort hotels do have refill stations as well. So those are good ones to try. Now, it's easier to pay close to $5 for a fountain Coke there instead of at Cosmic Rays or Columbia Harbor House, where you only get 1 cup of soda. Tip number 14, you can order off the full menu at lots of Disney World lounges. So you guys know we love our lounges here at DFB, and there are many of them that are excellent and have excellent menus. But there are several that you can also order off the full restaurant menu from the restaurant next door. So when you can't grab a reservation or you don't want to plan everything down to the last minute, keep some of these lounges in your back pocket to go to when you're in these particular parks or near these particular restaurants, because heading over to a lounge for a meal can be a great idea instead of going to a full table service meal. At California Grill Lounge in Disney's Contemporary Resort, Tune In Lounge over there in Hollywood Studios, and Brown Derby Lounge over in Hollywood Studios, these locations all serve their associated restaurants' full menu. So if you can't get a reservation at the full restaurant or you don't want to plan everything out, head to the lounge and ask to see the full restaurant menu. Now, even if you choose to eat in California Grill Lounge instead of the full restaurant, you can still enjoy that Magic Kingdom fireworks perk, which we're going to tell you about in just a second. All right, number 15, booking early morning or late evening dining reservations can get you into the parks before opening or allow you to stay a little bit after closing. So those early morning reservations are especially beneficial in Magic Kingdom because you can potentially get on popular rides like Seven Dwarfs Mine Train or Peter Pan's Flight before all the park crowds arrive. So you'll want to make your reservation early enough that you get finished with your meal before the crowds start to come in, before that opening show at the Magic Kingdom. So restaurants to consider: Be Our Guest restaurant is a great option due to its location in New Fantasyland, and it is a counter service location, so you can really control how quickly you get in and out of there. Crystal Palace and Cinderella's Royal Table are good choices as well. Those are going to get you close to Fantasyland and Adventureland and Frontierland from the Crystal Palace side. And don't forget, if you're in the Magic Kingdom early morning, then you're probably going to be able to get some great photo ops that other people are not going to be able to get. Now, having a late evening dinner reservation can allow you to remain in the park for a bit longer after it's closed. Leaving the park right after the fireworks can force you to make your way through a horde of people, so we love scheduling that dinner reservation as late as possible so we get to walk out through a quiet, empty park. Don't have to worry about fighting everybody and dealing with the traffic afterwards as well if we have our cars. And speaking of, if we don't have our cars, we don't have to wait for multiple monorails to go by, multiple buses to go by, etc. So for example, on December 11th, we found an advanced dining reservation for 9:20 p.m. at Chefs de France in Epcot. Now, Epcot is scheduled to close around 9:30 that day, so we'd potentially be leaving the park an hour or later after the park closes. Now, this is an awesome thing to do if you're a night owl and you don't like dealing with big crowds. You can also get some really great photo ops as well in those empty nighttime parks. And finally, number 16, that California Grill tip. You can return to California Grill with your receipt to watch the fireworks from their secret viewing platform. This means don't stress too much if you aren't able to get that coveted reservation during the Magic Kingdom's fireworks. Just snag whatever reservation you can or go eat at the lounge. Keep your receipt and head back up to California Grill when the fireworks are about to start so that you can view the show from their special exclusive viewing platform. That's a great tip that I've really never seen in any guidebook. I hope these 16 tips have helped you to plan. I hope they've gotten you some insight into some specifics that maybe none of your other planning resources are talking about. We always try here at DFB to make sure we're getting you the most detailed, important, and useful and valuable information we possibly can. I'm not here just to hear myself talk. I want to make sure you guys are having the best trips you can. That's my whole purpose getting up in the morning. So thank you guys so much for listening. Thank you for watching. We'd love to hear your tips too. If you have special tips you haven't seen in a guidebook but have really helped your Disney vacations, let us know in the comments. This is AJ for Disney Food Blog, and we'll see you real soon.